how Trump became president. That's exactly what happened. We got rid of bullies, a real bully showed up, and nobody knew how to handle it.
I've been working on my Trump. It's a lot of great people, lots of great people on both sides. Excuse me, fake reviews. Fake reviews.
You know, Trump is like, he's like a dominant female boxer. He's like Ronda Rousey. You're like, God damn it, she can fight. And then you go, oh, she hitting girls.
Jamie,
Canada's gonna be with us soon. Canada will be with America very soon. I love Canada dry. I don't like Canada wet. I like Canada dry.
We want Canada to adopt America.
I like Canada.
At least California.
Canada's gonna be with us. They're gonna be the 36th state. There's 50, sorry. 30, whatever.
The cast of The Apprentice is running the world. Trump, the daughter, Omarosa. They run the world, man. Yo, man, this crazy. Trump is not playing, man. That's right. This time is totally different. He's working with the #1 African American in the world, the richest African American in the world, Elon Musk. That's right, he is African American. Elon got more kids than the Cleveland Browns.
If there was a misunderstanding, I would totally take that back. But hopefully I said it correctly.
On the Kelly file, McCain's daughter Meghan couldn't be angrier.
My father has been in public office since before I was born, and this is one of the grossest, most disgusting comments I've ever heard, which is really saying something. I'm 30 years old. And it's because it's not just an attack on my father, it's an attack on all veterans, and it's an attack on all people.
Imagine a world where the powerful are untouchable, where their secrets are buried so deep that exposing them could cost you everything, your freedom, your family, and even your life. Well, that's a reality that Donald Trump knows all too well. But what happens when a former president with a hair-stretcher temper and a mind that never stops collides with two of the sharpest comedians in the game? Spoiler alert, it's not pretty. Chris Rock and Jamie Foxx just dropped some truth bombs on Trump. And let's just say he did not take it well. The man who has spent years dishing out insults like candy suddenly found himself on the receiving end of a roast that left him sputtering, fuming, and, let's be honest, having a meltdown so spectacular that even his advisors probably needed popcorn. From furious Twitter rants to some of the most cringe-worthy moments in recent history. Trump's ability to dodge the jokes and keep his cool, well, that's where things went wrong. But what exactly did Rock and Foxx say that sent the former president spiraling? Why did his usual deflections and insults fall short this time? Trust me, by the end of this, you'll understand why even Trump's biggest fans had to look at him and wonder, was he always like this?
Because you think a lot of parents would, encourage their children's kind of high aspirations.
Yes.
But like you told your mom,
When I was a kid, before I wanted to be a comedian, my dream was to be the president of the United States. It's the only real job I ever wanted, okay? Only time I wanted an office. I wanted to be the president of the United States. And I told my mother, and she's like,
Trump, he's never been one to shy away from a fight, especially when it comes to the world of insults and Twitter. His entire persona has been built on belittling others, slinging mud at anyone who dares challenge him, and generally turning any disagreement into a spectacle. But what happens when the insults are no longer just directed at his political opponents or journalists, but instead at some of the sharpest, most clever comedians in the business? This time, Trump found himself at the center of a comedic takedown like no other. And the funny thing is, it didn't even start with him. Enter Chris Rock, a comedian who has spent years turning uncomfortable truths into hilarious punchlines. But this wasn't just another routine. No, Rock had Trump squarely in his sights, and he wasn't pulling punches. Trump's rise to power was always going to be fodder for comedians. But Rock, with his trademark wit, made it something much more than a laugh riot. He didn't just mock Trump. He dissected him, examined his every move, and poked holes in the system that allowed a figure like him to even come close to the presidency.
It's not playing. They got Elon. They're going to put him in a rocket ship and call it Space Mex. J-Lo's gonna marry Ben again just so she can stay in the country.
Because that's the playbook. Deflect, deny, insult.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, what exactly did Chris Rock say that made Trump so, well, Trump? Let's break it down. Piece by piece. Chris Rock has a way of making people squirm and laugh at the same time. His humor cuts through the surface, tearing down the walls we've built around our own beliefs. When Rock started going after Trump, it wasn't just about cracking jokes about his hair or his ridiculous tweets. Rock went deeper. You see, for years, Rock hasn't treated Trump like just any politician or businessman. He's treated him like what he truly is, a walking, talking caricature, who somehow stumbled into the highest office in the land. The gaudy gold towers, the bankrupt casinos, the reality show catchphrases. Trump didn't become a caricature. No, he always was one. Trump's presidency wasn't some bizarre political twist. No, it was just the world's worst episode of Celebrity Apprentice that somehow got out of hand. Rock nailed it. Trump running for president wasn't shocking. It was the logical conclusion to a reality TV show that ran on for far too long. And that's where Rock's humor isn't just funny, it's brilliantly social commentary. He doesn't just joke about Trump's personal foibles. He pokes at the system that allowed someone like him to rise to power in the first place. From the cult of wealth worship to the obsessive focus on celebrity. Rock used Trump's antics as a magnifying glass to reveal the worst parts of American culture. Rock also did something that most people failed to do. He pointed out the glaring contradictions in Trump's rhetoric. Trump managed to convince millions of Americans that he was a man of the people, a working-class hero. But as Rock pointed out, Trump, who's never worked a day in his life, somehow convinced struggling Americans that he understood their pain. This was more than a punchline. This was a commentary on the way America has idolized the rich and powerful. Rock made it clear Trump wasn't just an incompetent president. He was the embodiment of everything wrong with the system. And Rock's delivery made it impossible for Trump or anyone else to ignore that.
A lot of great people. Lots of great people on bus. I love London. London falling down.
I just got to tell you that you might have met your match. Because I also do another Trump impression. Jamie Foxx, the greatest Fox in the wilderness. Great guy.
Yes. Do you have the yell? There. You gotta get the yell. They tried to give me the virus. You know what he does there? I beat the virus. They tried to give me.
And when Fox.
Now, if you think Trump is just going to sit back and take this kind of roasting, think again. What followed next was a textbook example of how Trump handles criticism with a full-on meltdown. Trump isn't used to being the butt of a joke, let alone several jokes. For someone who spent years dishing out insults, it must have been quite the shock to find himself in the comedy crosshairs. So, of course, he didn't take it well. But what happened next was something even his biggest detractors probably didn't see coming. Trump's meltdown didn't come with a quiet retreat. No, it came with a furious Twitter rant. He took to his platform of choice to hurl insults, deflect blame, and make wild claims that were so out of touch with reality, they almost felt like a parody. Fake news, he shouted. This is just another example of biased media trying to tear me down. The irony here, though, is that Trump has always used Twitter to dish out insults, but now, the insults were being hurled at him. And it wasn't just any old roast. It was Chris Rock and Jamie Foxx, two comedic geniuses who were spot on with their observations. Trump could throw all the tantrums he wanted, but the fact remained he had become the punchline.
I have to say, Jamie, before you go, yours is not as good as mine. Can you try it?
It's a lot of great people.
You're a disaster.
It's a lot of great people. Lots of great people on both sides. That's all I can say. Excuse me. Fake news. Fake news. They're trying to give me the...
Just you. So naturally, Trump did what he always does.
Now, as if things weren't bad enough, Jamie Foxx stepped in, and when Foxx gets involved, it's never just a joke. No, it's an experience. Foxx, who has the incredible talent to mimic just about anyone, decided to take a crack at Trump, and when he did, he didn't just impersonate him, he became him. Foxx's impression wasn't just about the voice. No, it was about the entire persona. The awkward pauses. The strange shifts between arrogance and self-pity. The constant need to remind everyone of how great he is, even when it didn't make sense. Foxx didn't just do a parody. He stripped Trump down to his essence. Now, Trump, when he's confronted with criticism, he doesn't back down. But how do you fight back against someone literally impersonating you? That's the beauty of Foxx's impression. It wasn't an exaggerated, cartoonish caricature of Trump. It was real. It was Trump. At his most absurd, laid bare for everyone to see, Trump tried to lash out. He insulted Rockin' Fox. He deflected. But it didn't matter. Foxx had exposed Trump's ego, his incoherence, and the absurdity of it all in a way that no insult or rant could erase.
Therefore, I have determined that it is time to officially recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
That's right. I said it. I said it. It had to be said. Somebody got to.
It wasn't just funny, it was devastatingly real. Foxx didn't need to exaggerate or twist Trump's words.
It's a lot of great people on both sides. I love Cameron. I love Cameron Diaz. She's great. I love all of her movies. I love Charlie's Angel. I feel like I'm a Charlie.
By the way, the best Trump I've ever seen.
Excuse me, fake news.
Trump is he's like a dominant female boxer. He's like Ronda Rousey. You're like, God damn it, she can fight. And then you go, oh, she hitting girls.
Canada's gonna be with us soon. Canada will be with America very soon. I love Canada dry. I don't like Canada wet. I like Canada dry.
We want Canada to adopt America.
I like Canada.
At least California.
Canada's gonna be with us. They're gonna be the 36th state. There's 50, sorry. 30, whatever. I don't do math. Everyone knows that I like Canada.
Hey guys, can you do me a favor? If you support Chris Rock and Jamie Foxx, please write one quality that you like most about them in the comment section. Back to the topic.
Lots of great people on bus. I love London. London falling down.
Yeah, well, I just got to tell you that you better bet your back. Because I also do a Donald Trump impression. Jamie Foxx, the greatest Foxx in the world is. Great guy.
Yes. Do you have the yell? There. You gotta get the yell. They tried to give me the virus. You know what he does there? I beat the virus. They tried to give me.
Guys, the New York Times is propaganda. The Washington Post is propaganda, The Atlantic is propaganda, NPR is propaganda, AP stands for Associated Propaganda. Good one, Broseph. Everything is propaganda. Threatening to annex Canada, focusing on all these dumb things, and not just dumb things, unpopular things. Why not focus on a dumb, popular thing and do away with this ridiculous clock change twice a year? We go forward, we go backward. It's like living in a Christopher Nolan movie, and Matt Damon is in those. I want no part of it. Set the clock and leave it be. Give the people what we want.
That's how Trump became president. That's exactly what happened. We got rid of bullies. A real bully showed up, and nobody knew how to handle it.
I've been working on my Trump. It's a lot of great people. Lots of great people on both sides. Excuse me. Fake reviews. A
guy who said 3 things a week that would torpedo anybody else's campaign. How do you do that? That's like you're playing a football game, the other team throws 20 interceptions, and you still figure out how to blow it. At what point do you take responsibility? They try to say, they would be like, oh, it was a bunch of, I love the racist white guy thing. A bunch of racist white guys. They came out of the forest, and they were just going, Trump. It's like, where were all these racist white guys the last 2 elections when they could have voted against a black guy? They were fine. Oh, I don't mind a black guy, but this white lady, we gotta stop.
From having the state deny them the abortion that their doctor explained was medically necessary. And they've told us these things for one reason, and that is to keep what happened to them from happening to anybody else. Because if you do not have autonomy over this,
the cast of The Apprentice is running the world. Trump, the daughter, Omarosa, they run the world, man. Yo, man, this
Trump is not playing, man. That's right. This time is totally different. He's working with the #1 African American in the world, the richest African American in the world, Elon Musk. That's right, he is African American. Elon got more kids than the Cleveland Browns.
He a war hero that got captured. I don't want to vote for nobody that got captured. I want to vote for that got away.
Now, this is where things get interesting. Trump can attack the media all he wants. He can throw his usual tantrums, calling everything fake news. But an impression that is this accurate, that's a whole different animal. You see, the damage wasn't just in the jokes, it was in how accurate they were. The beauty of Foxx's impression wasn't just in how funny it was in how devastatingly real it was. By recreating Trump's thought process, the rambling, incoherent nature of his speeches, the constant self-praise, the desperate need to be seen as the greatest, it made Trump look like AFOLL. And let's be real, there's nothing Trump hates more than being made to look like a fool. That's what makes comedy like this so powerful. It cuts through all the defenses, all the bluster, and leaves you with nothing but the truth.
If there was a misunderstanding, I would totally take that back. But hopefully I said it correctly.
On the Kelly file, McCain's daughter Meghan couldn't be angrier.
My father has been in public office since before I was born, and this is one of the grossest, most disgusting comments I've ever heard, which is really saying something. I'm 30 years old. And it's because it's not just an attack on my father, it's an attack on all veterans, and it's an attack on all...
Dude, I have to say, though, him winning is the most astounding thing I've ever seen.
It was a surprise.
No. Surprise. Dude, like, you're talking like Lake Placid, the Olympics, when we beat the Russian, buries that. Kirk Gibson's home run is a joke.
Right.
The Giants beating the undefeated Patriots, that's all a joke. Dude, the star of a reality show is going to run the country. The guy who decided if Brett Michaels or Cyndi Lauper would make a better CEO for a company that doesn't exist. It's going to be running stuff. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He was the shit, though. He was like, he just reminded me like when I didn't read the book and I'm just winging it, you know? I'm going to do it. How you going to do that? Oh, you'll see. You'll see. It worked. Dude, he is the greatest shit talker of all time. He sat at like $100,000 breakfast while the president trashed him.
You think a lot of parents would, encourage their children's kind of high aspirations.
Yes.
But like you told your mom,
when I was a kid, before I wanted to be a comedian, my dream was to be the president of the United States. It's the only real job I ever wanted. Okay? Only time I wanted an office. I wanted to be the president of the United States. And I told my mother, and she's like,
It's not playing. They got Elon. They're going to put him in a rocket ship. We call it Space Mex. Oh, yeah. J-Lo's going to marry Ben again just so she can stay in the country.
Gordon Scamsey was joined on stage in Pennsylvania by none other than Elon Musk. And say what you like about Elon, the man is absolutely dripping with charisma.
He created the first major American car company in generations, and his rocket company is the only reason we can now send American astronauts into space.
How hard it is for the Senate to get unanimous consent on any... They can't get unanimous consent on consent. You want to make America great again? End this daylight-saving madness forever, Mr. President. I dare you.
Oh, my God. Why does Elon Musk dress like he just got out of a Hot Topic? Just... I am so sick of that guy trying to rewrite his origin story like he was Matthew McConaughey pulling into the high school. It's like you were a nerd, nobody bangs you, and now you have hair plugs and your laminated face. No, and everybody is afraid of these nerds. I don't get.
I'm gonna go over here and I'm coming. I have to say, Jamie, before you go, yours is not as good as mine. Can you try it out?
A lot of great people.
You're a disaster.
Lots of great people. Lots of great people on both sides. So I like to say, excuse me, fake news. Fake news. They're trying to give me the...
These days more than usual.
Nerds.
Yeah.
The nerds that own the politician.
nerds.
All these tech nerds that want to build robots because they don't know how to talk to hot women.
Yeah.
They're gonna take over the world. They're gonna take.
Therefore, I have determined that it is time to officially recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
That's right. I said it. I said it. It had to be said. Somebody got this.
It's a lot of great people on both sides. I love Cameron. I love Cameron Diaz. She's great. I love all of her movies. I love Charlie's Angel. I feel like I'm a Charlie.
By the way, the best Trump I've ever seen.
Excuse me, fake news.
How the people were so desperate to pick this man, you know, this unbelievable narcissist who could change the face of our world if we let him. And the only thing that will save us, and I know you can stop this. I know you can stop this because the power of the people is bigger than those assholes that are there in Washington.
Cher Sarkeesian just went full auto on Donald Trump and Melania's marriage. Unleashed. This is pure, iconic chaos.
Like on paper, he looks so good. You know, he was brought up rich. He had a good education. He's got all these young chicks. I don't know how young, but he's got all these young chicks. And he just keeps trading them in on younger chicks. And he's got all this money and he's famous and still he's such a...
Somewhere deep in the gaudy, gold-plated caverns, Donald Trump was choked on his neck.
He's an asshole. He's he's such a dangerous. I don't know how he is a candidate. He is so dangerous, and what he brings to my country, what he's awakened in my country, is bigotry and distrust and a certain kind of supremacy. I have to tell you something. If someone said that my daughter was a hot piece of ass, I would put my fist through his face. Someone who would bring down the country because he doesn't win does not deserve anything, deserves nothing. He deserves nothing. He does not deserve any kind of respect, loyalty. I don't think he has two moral fibers. Lies. He tells something, and then you go back and you see what he said, and it seems like the truth both times. He's so terrific at lying. I've never seen anybody so good. I mean, it's amazing. I could go on this subject forever because I'm so traumatized by.
I will try and be as direct and honest with you as I possibly can be. I am positive that you are the most unattractive man I have ever met in my entire...
The people he will bring with him will put an end to any hope that women have of getting the rights that we had in Roe versus Wade. I believe they will put an end to any gay marriage. They will put an end to gay adoption. It's not going to hurt me. I'm 70. It's not going to do anything to me, but it's going to do stuff to young people. And that really scares me, and it really...
And then, like clockwork, it happened. The dreaded...
I believe, none of us are perfect, but I believe she's genuine, and I believe, unlike Trump, who his friend of 20 years said the other night, Donnie Deutsch, said he doesn't want to be president. He said no one's more surprised than him. He wants the crowds, he wants the adulation, he doesn't give a about the world.
Every damage control effort only fanned the flames. It was as if they were trying to put out a fire by throwing gasoline on it.
Okay. You have, rightly so, been incredibly outspoken about your disapproval of President Donald Trump. Say one nice thing about him.
What's one nice thing about him? There's nothing nice about him. I can't say one nice thing about him.
And then there was Fox News, doing what Fox News does best, desperately twisting the narrative why Cher's name had so many vowels.
You and Cher, what is going on?
Well, I've never been a fan of Cher, but I thought she took some very cheap shots at Mitt Romney, so I let her have it. I never liked computer-enhanced music.
Okay. And speaking about Mitt Romney, who should his running mate be?
Well, he's got a lot of choices, and I guess time will tell, but it's too early to say.
I will try and be as direct and honest with you as I possibly can be. I am positive that you are the most unattractive man I have ever met in my entire life. You have demonstrated every loathsome characteristic of the male personality and even discovered a few new ones. You are...
People in America could realize what kind of a person he is. What kind of... yes, but worse than that. And probably not very good. But...
That got captured. I don't want to vote for nobody that got captured. I want to vote for that got away.
Trump, who rarely, if ever, apologizes for anything, sounded like he's softening a little on McCain.
And certainly if there was a misunderstanding, I would totally take that back. But hopefully I said it correctly.
On the Kelly file, McCain's daughter Meghan couldn't be angrier.
My father has been in public office since before I was born, and this is one of the grossest, most disgusting comments I've ever heard, which is really saying something. I'm 30 years old. And it's because it's not just an attack on my father, it's an attack on all veterans, and it's an attack on all POWs.
You're gone in there, even if I didn't have a weapon. That's what a 10-year-old says. I could beat up a lion. I could fight a lion if I had. In America, it's that 32% who say they're the disenfranchised, forgotten. You want to go, no. What's happened is, when you've had privilege so long, equality feels like oppression. They're basically saying, some people want some of our equality.
Yes.
Well, of course they do.
Yes.
That's it.
Damn them, damn their eyes. And one of them ended up president. That's the ultimate offence.
I'm nearly numb. Eva Longoria and America Ferrera aren't just beautiful, talented actresses. They're also two people who your future president, Donald Trump, can't wait to deport.
Here is what Gervais specifically said during that interview. Why were people believing the most opulent billionaire on the planet when he said the problem was the liberal elite in Hollywood? I'm thinking, why are they falling for this? Why are they falling for Drain the Swamp? He is the swamp. That observation is 100% spot on. Anyone who believed that Donald Trump was somehow going to come in and drain the swamp was absolutely delusional.
It's been in office for 10 years, that's where The Office sort of came from, but I also watched a lot of those quaint docu-soaps in the 90s when an ordinary guy got his 15 minutes of fame and that was it. But now fame's a different beast. Now it's insatiable. People live their life like an open wound to be famous. They do anything to be famous. They do bad things to be famous and they're rewarded for it. Since The Office, we've had things like, Big Brother and The Apprentice. People got on The Apprentice by saying, I would destroy anyone who moves. It's that sort of crazy. Think, what if we just told him he got in? So he gets up every day, and he does a little address and we go, yeah, it's brilliant, I'm the president of Hyde. And they're all extras.
Right.
They're all extras. And he just never knows. He was never president.
And we're filming it and watching it.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be amazing.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
I think he'd be up for it.
I bet he would.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't even have to tell him, right? You would just say...
No, not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a year in, you'd say, here's the thing, it's been fake, but the ratings are huge. And he'd go, very good, I'll stop.
Angry. I was angry. Yes, I am angry. I'm angry. He's an angry person.
Hi guys, Ricky G here, wellness and beauty influencer. As a celebrity, I know all about stuff, like science and politics. So trust me when I tell you who you should vote for. If you don't vote the right way, that's like a hate crime, and it makes me sad and angry, and I'll leave the country. And you don't want that.
David Brent, you know, he was a sort of narcissistic man-child, but of the old variety. He can't survive in today's world of narcissistic man-children. Mentioning no names, right?
Have you thought about if Donald Trump wins? Have you thought about the possibility he might use the power of the federal government against you personally?
Yeah, I have, but I'm comforted in the fact that he's coming after you first.
So although I wish I were here with better news, the fact is that you and I are sitting here today because this will be your last week of employment. This is not an assessment of your productivity. You gotta try not to take this personally.
Well, I just had a bad night.
Hey guys, please do me a favor and let me know in the comments section who do you support, George Clooney or Donald Trump. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.
Right to the bottom line.
The bottom line is that it's very hard to let go of power, and President Biden did something really extraordinary, and so honestly, I really do think that's what should be focused on, really.
Yeah. And yet, it was a risky move because had he not decided to step aside, it would probably have damaged him to having one of his great supporters. And
what are you getting at, Jim?
I'm getting at you took a big swing, and thank God you hit that ball out because
it could have gone very bad.
It could have gone very, very bad.
You're a man you're a Democrat, but you're slightly to the left, as it were, in American politics.
Sure.
You're a friend of President Biden. You've known him for a long time.
Sure.
And looking at his poll numbers, which are really quite bad at the moment, things have gone wrong. What would you say about what's happened to the White House since he's taken over, and what's happened to America since he's taken over?
Well, I mean, you can't. It's like taking a battered child and thinking everything's gonna be okay, and his first day in school. There's a lot of things that have to be repaired. There's a lot of healing that has to happen, and it's going to take time. Poll numbers come up and go down. I would expect them to go back up again. Donald Trump's numbers went up and down.
He's still there, prowling around in the rhododendrons.
Yeah. He's going to be a factor for a while. It's so funny because he was just this knucklehead. I knew him before he was a president. He was just a guy who was chasing girls. Every time he went out, he'd come over and be like, "What's the name of that girl?" That's all he was. And the idea that there's this whole group of people that, that they think he's the champion of, which he certainly can't stand in real life. But, he's gonna play this out for a while, and we'll see where we go with it as a country. My hope is we have a little better sense than to do.
Motherfucking Clooney does not mix words. I am so grateful for Call to Activism and their viral tweet today to remind me how much of a savage George Clooney is. What's up, my name is Alexis. Remember to like, follow, share. Here is George Clooney's response after Trump accused him of being a Hollywood elite. Here's the thing. I grew up in Kentucky. I sold insurance door to door. I sold ladies' shoes. I worked at an all-night liquor store. I would buy suits that were too big and too long and cut the bottom off the pants to make ties so I'd have a tie to go on a job interview. I grew up understanding what it was like to not have health insurance for 8 years. So the idea that I'm somehow the Hollywood elite and the guy who takes a shit in a gold toilet is somehow the man of the people is laughable. People in Hollywood, for the most part, are people from the Midwest who moved to Hollywood to have a career. So the idea that coastal elites living in a bubble is ridiculous. Who lives in a bigger bubble? He lives in a gold tower and has 12 people in his company. He doesn't run a corporation of hundreds of thousands of people he employs and takes care of. He ran a company of 12 people. When you direct a film, you have 7 different unions, all wanting different things. You have to find consensus with all of them, and you have to get them moving in the same direction. He's never had to do any of that kind of stuff. I just look at it and I laugh when I see him say Hollywood elite. Hollywood elite? I don't have a star on the Hollywood Boulevard. Donald Trump has a star on the Hollywood Boulevard. Fuck you. The fucking fuck you. Quote, George Clooney. It's the little things, people. It's the little things.
There is a world where we could go back to where we were. I don't think it's as likely as people think, but I was wrong about the first election. I didn't think people would vote for someone who was so deeply flawed. I know Donald Trump. That's the thing is people. I have his phone number in my phone book. He was the guy that came to the bars and asked me about which cocktail waitress was single. You know, that's who he was.
This is back in the 90s.
Not that long, no, back in the 2000s, quite honestly. And so there's this part of you that just goes, well, that guy shouldn't be president. But I was wrong, and he was. And our democracy, I believe, paid a price, certainly around the world. And I worry about the possibility. I don't think it's as good as some people are afraid of, but I do worry about it. I think we're in a time where we need to, we need some interesting candidates all around the board.
Democratic side as well.
Sure. Yeah, we need interesting candidates. I'm worried about the coarsening of America. I'm worried about how we celebrate unkindness. So I look at where we are, this sort of portioning of our discourse, and I find it to be worrying. It's all scary, just because there is a world where we could go back to where we were. I don't think it's as likely as people think, but I was wrong about the first election. I didn't think people would vote for someone who was so deeply flawed. I know Donald Trump. That's the thing is people. I have his phone number in my phone book. He was just this knucklehead. I knew him before he was, a president. He was just a guy who was chasing girls. Every time he went out, he'd come over and be like, what's the name of that girl? That's all he was. He was the guy that came to the bars and asked me about which cocktail waitress was single. That's who he was.
This is back in the 90s.
Not that long. No, back in the 2000s, quite honestly. And so there's this part of you that just goes, well, that guy shouldn't.
You know that theory about you don't have to be faster than the bear, you just have to be faster than the one kid? You're that one kid, pal.
I'm the kid. I'm the slow boy. Yeah. Trump is a big fan of yours. I don't know if you've seen this, but he posted in July. So now fake movie actor George Clooney.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that movies are fake, does he?
I don't think so.
Who never
Hannibal
came
Lecter
close
is his guy.
to making a great movie, is getting into the act. He's turned on Crooked Joe like the rats they both are. What does Clooney know about anything, says the host of Celebrity Apprentice. Clooney should get out of politics and go back to television. Movies never really work for him.
I will if he does.